When we first saw the reveal of the Galaxy S25 Edge at the Galaxy Unpacked event in 2025, we got a glimpse of an ultra-thin phone with little information about it. It created buzz about its existence and mystery about the phone, as there were no details given at the time other than a dummy model on display. When it was finally revealed, tech reviewers were quick to speculate about the phone's existence. The primary theme, why does this even exist? And did anyone ask for this? When comparing it to the rest of the siblings in the S25 lineup, the general consensus was getting the thinnest phone ever required sacrifices like lower battery capacity and losing a camera lens, and it just wasn't something that people were willing to compromise on. If it isn't obvious already, the phone did not do very well at launch. We saw price drop significantly within a couple of months. Its competitor, the iPhone Air, was also struggling, and rumors of a future version being announced at the upcoming Galaxy Unpacked event in 2026 were scrapped. It's currently unknown if we're going to see another version of this. I originally was not in the target audience of this phone. I was just interested in seeing the competition between Samsung and Apple, and it was surprising to see both of them struggle to generate interest and demand for their thin phones. However, I did have an opportunity to purchase the phone and made it a daily driver. So 9 months later, after launch, how is this phone holding up? Well, out of all the phones I tested in 2025, I can say it's my favorite phone released this past year, and let me explain why. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Trent, and I like reviewing the tech that I use, documenting my life stuff, and uploading my adventures through skydiving. Full disclosure, I bought this phone with my own money, no sponsors, no review units. This allows me to be 100% honest with you. If you appreciate that kind of transparency and you want to help me reach my goals for content creation, hitting that like button and subscribing is the best way to support the channel. It really helps me get these long-term reviews out to you guys. Let's start with talking about compact phones real quick. See, I enjoy using compact phones. I love the iPhone 12 and 13 mini when they were launched. I tend to prefer a smaller size of a phone if there's multiple versions and sizes of it, and there's just something about being able to grip a small phone with one hand. Now, we always see this battle: screen size for content consumption versus the physical phone size. There's typically always something being removed if they want to shrink the phone down. In some cases, the unique smaller phone models don't always get the best features. We've seen this with the iPhone Pro and Pro Max models before, and we even see this with the current generation of the Pixel 10 Pro and XL versions with different charging speeds. But I think this phone blends a mix of those differences together in a way that wasn't apparent at first. So the obvious, the phone is extremely thin, right? It's thinner than the Moto Razr Ultra that I just recently reviewed. Picking up the phone, it's noticeable, but to be honest, that wore off pretty quick, especially if you're planning on putting a case on it, something that I'll get into later. But the thing that's not so obvious, the phone's weight. This is actually my favorite part about the phone, where I get a mix of both worlds. I get to have a bigger screen with more information on it while experiencing less fatigue on my hands. While I thought the physical dimensions would bother me, I haven't found this to be a problem at all. In fact, I can hold this with one hand without the weight destroying my pinky after extended use. And my pockets don't feel like I have a brick in them. It's truly my favorite thing about the phone. Now, it is difficult to showcase this, as this is one of those situations where you have to hold the phone physically to notice the benefit, so you'll have to see it for yourselves or just trust my opinion about it. Following this, reviewers were quick to point out how the phone was reduced to 2 camera lenses. This is very clear when you put it next to the rest of the S25 lineup. But what's not so obvious, hidden in the details, is the main lens being a 200 megapixel shooter that's present on the Galaxy S25 Ultra flagship. The photos that come out of this are absolutely top notch. They're right up there with the Pixel. There's also many different camera modes that you can choose from. While I think Samsung took a page out of Apple's handbook here, I like that you can dual record using both the back camera and the front camera at the same time. There's also an expert RAW mode that allows you to capture raw images. And then there's a Pro Video mode that lets you record and log video, as well as record to an external SSD. As a content creator and photographer, this is all really cool to me, and it's really nice to see these features on Android. Paired with the Snapdragon X Elite chip here, the photos process almost immediately, quite faster than the Pixel with the Tensor chip. I'm very happy that they didn't downgrade the chip to choose one of those Exynos versions on this phone. Here's the Fest Test segment. As I mentioned in previous videos, I like to attend music festivals on my own time. I've had a variation of results from recording the festival sets. There's challenges for these phones to keep up with audio clarity from extremely loud speakers while retaining the image quality from the lights of the stage contrasting with the night sky. The S25 Edge did a great job for the video recording part. However, I think for the audio, there were times where the bass overpowered the microphones. In a clip here, you can hear how the audio sounds lower and a bit muddier from this position. Comparing the Pixel 10 Pro at the same time and location, you can hear how the Pixel was able to retain the audio clarity. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Moving on, Samsung kept the dual speaker setup here. They get plenty loud and they sound great given the physical limitations available for the internals. So seriously, props to Samsung for keeping these major features that we saw eliminated on the iPhone Air. Talking about surprises, I found Samsung OneUI to be great. I remember the early days of Samsung's flavor of Android, how they mimicked the iPhone home screens to the point that they got sued for it. I bounced around to different phones back then, but eventually returned to when the Samsung S6 Edge was announced. It also had a niche feature regarding its form factor, a curved display. It was some of the wildest marketing that worked on me because I had to have it. But hilariously, I recall when this phone suffered from performance issues and a horrible battery life. While the Edge branding made sense back then, I'm not sure if it really has the same effect on this phone model. Maybe it's bleeding edge thin, I don't know, but it performs way better in 2026, and I can say with my usage, the battery has met my needs. It's not a battery champ, this ain't no OnePlus, and it feels like it's on par with standard non-flagship phones. I'm only more aware of having to charge the phone if like throughout the day I'm using it more than I normally do, or if I'm planning to have a long day. But it hasn't really been the same point of constraint that many reviewers have highlighted. I can get through a full day without having to charge this phone, which I can say I'm having better luck with than compared to the Pixel 10 Pro. I think it's a mixture of the OneUI and the Snapdragon chip keeping things optimized so it doesn't drain the battery much. Again, this is based off my usage. As mentioned before, the performance is fantastic. I haven't run into any lag. I'm able to play demanding games very smoothly. I tested Wuthering Waves on high settings without any issue, no stuttering. And of course this will drain the battery significantly, so I'd consider playing lightly or connecting to a charger for those gaming sessions. Another positive that I found with OneUI 8 has been the relaxed controls around the settings for my own personal preferences over Samsung's proprietary apps. I can choose Google Wallet over Samsung Wallet now without having to root the phone or install some special configuration that makes that happen. I can use Google Photos over Samsung Gallery, Google Messages over Samsung Messages, Google Discover over Samsung News, and thankfully Gemini over Bixby. It's to the point where many of these apps are default to the Google apps versus the Samsung versions. Hopefully this remains the same in the future, but Samsung has announced their Bixby Live collaboration with Perplexity, so I kind of worry that this might reverse course eventually. But for now, I'm able to customize these settings the way that I like, and it makes this phone really fun to use. There are improvements that I'd like to see in the next version. For them to be successful, they have to address the primary concern, right? The battery life. While someone like myself doesn't have a problem with the battery, my usage isn't typical of others, right? Others prioritize having a bigger battery, and when options out there now like have 2 days battery life with heavy usage, it's hard to convince users this is the phone that would be better for them. Also, it's sad that Samsung is pushing 25-watt charging as super fast charging. It's complete BS. Off the current rumors out there, the S26 Ultra is going to get a faster charging speed, but this really should be standard across their lineup. I mean, Samsung might be fearing that they'll have another Galaxy Note situation, but I mean, they should do something about this, such as like increasing the battery capacity or switching to silicon carbon, or maybe just giving us faster charging. I know we're in the era of like AI, and every month we see how like Google is implementing new features with Gemini into the Pixel lineup. Their message is very focused on Gemini being this big part of the phone experience, and I think a lot of other brands are just falling apart when it comes to, you know, the progress that Gemini is making. I think in this case with Galaxy AI, it's just really not holding the same features that Gemini can do. I mean, for example, the Now Brief is nice on paper, but it's just something that I don't seek out on this phone, and all of the other Galaxy AI features are pretty gimmicky, or they're just targeted to very specific use cases. If I could reduce the cost of this phone by removing Galaxy AI, I would do that, if that makes sense. Now, the next things are nice to haves, but I would say they would bring this phone up to the flagship standards. I would love to see magnets for Qi wireless charging built into this phone. I love running my phones without a case, and I do rely on some MagSafe Pixel Snap accessories that I wish I could use with this phone. However, I'm forced to get a case if I want to use those accessories, and that's just unfortunate, right? Adding a case to this specific type of phone kind of removes the whole point about the phone being thin. Samsung released most of their cases without magnets for the S25 Edge, so I ended up getting a case from Spigen to gain this benefit, but obviously I would still prefer these to be built into the phone. I don't know if like Samsung could come out with a version with their own branding. I just don't see that really coming out this year because the rumors say that the Galaxy S26 lineup doesn't have it. Also, I've been using this phone with the official Samsung anti-reflective film, which I imagine is similar to the built-in version on the Ultra series. I absolutely love it. It's great for clearing those reflections, but it adds more contrast in a way that makes the display look so much cleaner. I hope that this comes to future models. So who is this phone for? If I'm honest, I think it's for the tech enthusiast, the person who's hypercritical about the way that their phone is, the person who's looking at very close details about their phone, and someone who just likes having a different phone from the masses. I believe that the vast majority of people would not see the benefits for what it is and prioritize things like battery life. This phone is the result of fantastic engineering that goes mainly unnoticed for being so niche. I've had others hold this phone, recognize how thin and light it is, but hand it back afterwards, not really impressed when compared to say like a folding phone. I don't think this will reach the mass audiences in a way that has them pick this up over other models, but to me it has really been my favorite phone to use up until this point. It's still a fantastic buy in 2026, and its performance will hold up for many years to come. If you aren't glued to your phone and you enjoy having a big screen but you aren't a fan of the weight that it usually is attached with, this is the phone for you that I would recommend. Based off this experience and this type of engineering that went into this device, it holds really good value, and it's really nice to use. There's plenty of deals out there for this phone, particularly the renewed ones on Amazon for practically half the MSRP. I have affiliate links in the description in case you're interested in this phone, no additional cost to you. If you're already an owner of the S25 Edge, I want to hear from you. How's the phone holding up? Does the battery last long enough for you, or am I just really an odd phone user? Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. With the 2026 Samsung Unpacked event coming up on February 25th, I'll be interested to see what the new lineup is like and maybe create a review on one of those phones for you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye, friends.